County history. One local official says more than 5,000 homes have been wiped out in the Palisades fire alone. Thousands losing everything in a matter of hours, including one family who lost their daughter's ashes.
We had a daughter 15 years ago. She'd be 15, and she passed away when she was 1, and her ashes were in our home, and they're gone. Like every memory, every piece of physical evidence of her life is just gone, and that hurts.
Critical fire conditions flaring up once again, with the National Weather Service warning of a, quote, particularly dangerous situation by midweek. All of this threatening to fuel the major fires, which have already burned more than 40,000 acres in just under a week. That is an area bigger than the size of Paris, France. California Governor Gavin Newsom says fire crews are moving into hotspots in advance.
Some up here in Mandeville Canyon, which was the site in the last 2 nights of tremendous investment of resources, firefighters working the line, a lot of those assets still here, not only in anticipation of potential flare-up here in the Palisades fire, but also pre-positioned, as we're pre-positioning in many counties throughout the state of California because of the upcoming winds we're expecting. Monday, peaking Monday night into Tuesday, extending into Wednesday.
Joining me now to discuss the latest is Brian Rice, the president of the California Professional Firefighters. Brian, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being with us. We did hear from the governor overnight about pre-positioning fire crews for more potential flare-ups. What do you think is the scale of the risk of that here?
I think that for the next couple of days, and the governor said it through Wednesday, there's a pretty large spread of a red flag warning. I think the threat is very real, and that the state of California is moving resources in to match. I can't say match that threat, but in anticipation of that threat. The threat's real.
So, sir, at this point, I mean, what do you think are the biggest risks from these winds? Which neighborhoods do you think are potentially more at risk than others, and what does that mean for your crews?
Well, right now, it looks like the big threats they're talking about the Brentwood area, the Santa Monica area, that the governor mentioned, Mandeville Canyon. In some of these areas on the northern end of the Palisades fire, you're seeing areas that haven't had a fire in some cases up to 40 years. So you're seeing a much higher fuel load. They know that. They're getting resources in there. But Casey, it's like I said, every time I've spoken to you, the weather matters here. It's still dry. The humidity levels are coming up a little bit. I think that they probably aren't beginning to see the type of overnight recovery in the dew point and the humidity levels that they want to see. But it's not single digit like it was when this fire started. And right now, it all matters. And it is the neighborhoods that are in front of the flame front, the flame front. And then some of the things that add to that, the islands of areas in the burn that haven't burned. They were saved as the fire moved around them. Those pose a threat too. You don't want to see a start in those areas that help fuel a flame front.
So, what are you hearing from firefighters on the ground about what they may need here? I mean, are they running into any issues along the lines of, obviously, there's already been investigations called for and apparently launched into why the hydrants ran dry in the Palisades, for example. Are there any other issues like that you're hearing from crews? And what are they telling you about how residents can best help them right now?
But some of the things that I spoken to last night with one of the crews, a leader on a USAR team, their morale is very, very high. They're starting to roll into getting some rest periods. But the reason that the morale is high is, there's a lot of interaction with the community. As firefighters rotate off the line, they'll have those connections in some areas as they're transversing or going towards the fire line. They connect with citizens, and those interactions mean everything. You hear their stories. They ask, a person asks you for help, or what did you see in this area? And people are tired. There'll be time for exhaustion, and there'll be a time to get rest when the wind stops blowing and we see our containment numbers go up.
Really, I'm glad to hear that that you are hearing that morale is high because of how much support they're getting from the community. That is at least something positive to look to in what is obviously an incredibly difficult